Hello, my name is Kristen Bolden and I'd like to welcome you to The Other Side of History. In this talk, I would like to give you some of the music and the background of the composer Edvard Grieg. And we have a rainstorm outside, so hopefully that doesn't distract too much from this video. It has been said that Grieg represents the very essence of Norway. Edvard's great-grandfather, his name was Alexander, and he was born in Scotland. And the last name was actually spelt G-R-E-G-G. However, after Alexander settled in Birdling, Norway, and then he married a Norwegian girl, he changed the spelling to G-R-I-E-G to make the Norwegian pronunciation conform to the original. Edvard Grieg was born in Birdling, Norway in 1843, and he also died there in 1907. Now, Edvard said of his father, who was also named Alexander, I'm presuming after his great-grandfather, that he was a man of the kindest heart and the most lovable nature. Now, when Edvard first was sent off to school, he said that he found arithmetic troublesome. He considered the figures between the problem and the result of no importance. A job in mathematics didn't seem to be in his future. When he was 10, they moved to the countryside. It rained so often that Edvard, he tried to avoid school by standing under a dripping roof until he was totally drenched. And then he would show himself to the teacher, who would often just send him home. At this time in his life, he said that he desired actually to become a preacher. He liked poetry, and he committed many poems to memory. Grieg's mother was a good pianist, and she was actually Edvard's first music teacher. Edvard said that his mother was strict, inexorably strict. His mother's heart must have found some kind of satisfaction in the fact that many things came very quickly to Edvard, which was evidence of his artistic nature. However, even though Edvard was a quick learner, his mother never showed even the slightest sign of happiness with his success. She was very serious, and there was no goofing off with her. If she found Edvard daydreaming there at the keyboard instead of dutifully practicing his lesson, he knew of her displeasure. Nature has been the inspiration for many composers. Edvard, he composed a beautiful little song, and it's called Birdling. You can hear the sound of chirping little birds all throughout the song. Now, I have combined the song Birdling with the hymn Wonderful Words of Life. And at this time, I'd like to play this classical hymn combination for you. Edvard had done a number of childish compositions, and they were shown to a family friend. Now, his name was Bull, who was actually a really great violinist. Now, this Bull, he talked earnestly with Edvard's parents, and he actually shook Edvard's shoulders, and he said, "You must go to Leipzig and become a musician." Now, Edvard said that he remembered gratefully that his parents, they did not place any obstacles in his path. At the age of 16, he went to Leipzig, and he entered there the conservatory. Edvard was homesick, and he actually hated the music, I guess, which had been assigned to him to practice. But nonetheless, he said that he pursued his studies diligently. Now, in the spring of 1860, Edvard, he had a nervous breakdown from the overwork, and he actually got really quite sick. He finally recovered at home with only one good lung. He had not fully gotten his strength back when he returned to the conservatory. In the spring of 1862, Edvard Grieg, he gave his first public concert, and playing some of his very own piano compositions. He continued to perform and was much applauded. He was a success as both a composer and a performer. Now, Grieg composed a delightful little song. It's called "To the Spring." The song also is inspired from nature. It depicts a thunderstorm, which fits with our weather outside right now. As I play this song, listen, and you will hear this clap of thunder, and then when the storm kind of subsides, there's the gentle sound of rain. Now, I have combined this song with the hymn, "There Shall Be Showers of Blessing." Grieg, he met a musician who turned his musical thought towards a national idiom. Now, Grieg, he says, "Then there fell the scales from my eyes, and I learned first from him the Norwegian folk songs, and therein recognized my own nature." So in Copenhagen, Grieg, he met a singer by the name of Nina, and he fell in love with her. She returned the affection, and Edvard, he wrote a little song for her, and it's titled "I Love Thee." The words read like this: "My innermost thought of thoughts, my world's dear treasure, thou, only thou, my heart and soul adore. I love thee more than earth can ever measure. I love thee now, I love thee now. I love thee now and love forevermore." So Nina's mother, she objected actually to the romance. She told Nina that Grieg is nothing. He has nothing and makes music to which no one listens. So in spite of her mother's rejection, Edvard and Nina, they were married on June 11 of 1867. So at this time, I would like to play for you this beautiful little song, "I Love Thee." And I have combined it with another song by Grieg, and it's called Solveig's Song. Grieg, he became a part of the musical life of the city, and he gave piano lessons, and he conducted the Philharmonic Orchestra, actually. He had a meeting with Franz Liszt, and he brought his new piano concerto, which Liszt he actually played at sight. And he roared through the theme, typical of Franz Liszt. He roared through the theme towards the close of the finale. At the end, Liszt, he handed the music to Grieg, and he said, "Go on, I tell you. You have the right stuff in you, and don't let them scare you." In Rome, Grieg and Nina, they gave a joint concert. She sang, she was a singer, remember, and Edvard, he played the accompaniments to his own songs. And Nina also could play the keyboard, and the two of them, they played four hands the Norwegian dances. After the concert, one person remarked, "Mrs. Grieg also showed that in every sense of the word, she is a true artist." Wow, it's really coming down. The rain. Now, in 1900, one of Grieg's dear friends died, as well as his brother John, and he mourned them deeply. And for a time, he did not remove himself from the villa, which is his place there. It was called Trodhagen, which remained his lifetime home. Now, in 1903, Paris invited him to put on a concert, and he accepted, and he won actually a standing ovation there at the first concert. His health had been failing him for some time, and yet he continued to be active, spending many hours composing and giving frequent concerts. He enjoyed boating, and he even climbed to the top of a nearby mountain. However, September of 1907, he ended up in the hospital, and there he actually died in his sleep. So the last song that I would like to do for you is called Nocturne by Grieg. Again, it is a song that is inspired by nature. So Nocturne, it means night, and you can actually feel the mood of night in this song. You can also hear the sound of birds. So listen and discover, and picture this beautiful song, whatever comes to your mind, whatever picture comes to your mind as you listen, and your imagination. So at this time I will play for you Nocturne by Grieg. The love of nature, it courses through many of Grieg's songs. There is a hymn-like intimacy in others, and Norwegian folk echoes, they abound, which of course communicates Grieg's great love towards his homeland. Now Grieg's villa, it was called Troldhagen, and it was built beside a long, narrow, deep inlet of the sea between high cliffs. So such beautiful sights actually are common in Norway and in Iceland. Back to the house, back of the house there was a tiny little cottage in which on summer evenings Grieg, he would actually go there and he would play his compositions for the peasants who would all gather around there in the twilight, and they would listen while Grieg played. Grieg and his music was an inspiration in his time, and his music, it lives on today, and it continues to bless and to inspire. So I hope you have enjoyed this little musical. It definitely is been a lot involving nature. Even the outside here is a rainstorm. Maybe you can even hear the thunder. But anyhow, if you've enjoyed this little talk and musical, I would just encourage you to click on that subscribe and like button. And I want to thank you for listening, and God bless.